fed these 1970, 1980, even sometimes the 1950 shows where everybody was happy. Mom was home, vacuuming with heels. In the 1980s, it was always, the perfect family. They would have their little arguments and somehow it was all rectified. And you just turn around and you're like, well, why can't you be like, Family Matters? Mom, Dad, you finally did it. You finally was able to have and get a relationship. Whether it's successful or not depends on many different factors. But you've passed Jumanji level 1 and 2 of this dating nightmare that you have been in. You have humped and jumped and done things that maybe you don't want everybody to know, or you tell everybody on YouTube, TikTok, on the internets, but somehow you managed to nab one. He, she, everybody in between. You're comfortable. You're dating regularly. You might have even moved in with this person. You might be thinking long-term goals. Together forever, whatever it feels. You got that feeling in your body that I'm done with the dating scene. I found my prince that I found somehow through the miracle of technology or on your own. And then it's inevitable. It's that one question that we always ask. Where is this relationship going? Dun, dun, dun. And it can come from either side. Male, female. The reaction of doomsday. Okay? Yeah. Because as I have noted, things on my YouTube algorithm that I'm sharing with all of you so you can come with me and suffer. Hello, my name is Lena and welcome to my channel or welcome back. I am so grateful for everyone who has been staying tuned with all of my videos, and I am grateful for everybody who has watched, who has commented, liked, shared, subscribed, hyped, all the things that you are expected to do in order to make this YouTube algorithm work for you and I. So, as we have gone through how I personally feel about dating apps and people unable to find love, exciting and new, come aboard, we got nothing for you, love apps, they're crap, okay? But somehow you've managed to snap someone. So because of my YouTube algorithm that I have no control over, and they don't care what I do when I say not interested, don't recommend, get off my ass, leave me the hell alone, I come to bring you joy and a little enlightenment. So the next step should be right long-term goals for what it used to be for every generation from X down, boomer, silent, greatest love of all, greatest generation, marriage, right? Well, guess what I found on TikTok? That may not all be true. Let's take a look at what this one has noted on the decline of marriage for a while now. Let's take a look.
Nobody wants to get married anymore. In 1975, by age 30, 91% of women were married and 81% of men were married. In 2025, only 25% of women are married by age 30 and 16% of guys are married by age 30. You'd think that was why the fertility rate was so low, but it's not. The fertility rate has been declining for decades. So even when everybody was married, people still were having less children. And it's not so much that marriage is on the decline, but more so that marriage kind of peaked in the 1970s, which goes to show that there's a lot more to these statistics than meets the eye.
So, if marriages have been on the decline since the 1970s, which sounds about right. Why? I was born in 1969. For all those who may not know this, I'm a Gen X. And my mom was a baby boomer, and my grandmother was from the greatest generation, who created the baby boomers and so forth, and there so on. I'm going to say that my formative years, I came from a broken home. So by the time 1975 rolled around, my parents had already divorced. Okay. And he left. My dad left. And during the early 80s, if anybody had watched Stranger Things, the TV show on Netflix, which was pretty accurate, I was a latchkey kid with my brother, meaning that my mother had to go to work. We lived with my grandmother, and she was working at the time. And I was responsible for my younger brother. And from after school, I would have to come home with him, and we would, I would open the door, close the door, make sure all the 20 locks were locked, and, watch him until either my grandmother or my mother came home. Those are latchkey kids. They had no supervision because, we came from single parent homes. And that's early 75, 78, around there. So it makes sense that not only was marriage on a decline, but the divorce rate was rising. And I lived in a neighborhood that it was rare for two parents to be together. We did have a few of them, but most of my friends came from broken homes. A lot of people were getting divorced. People were waking the hell up from the baby boomers who were the ones getting married in that time frame, majority of them. They're like, yeah, no, I don't want this. And so here we are. You finally found someone, and you would want to think that the next step is that you get married, but maybe the two of you decide not to, and you stay together, or one of you wants to get married, the other one doesn't. And at the end of the day, I also grew up in the generation of, I'm going to say, not just the Disney princess, but the princess theory. Okay. Meaning that it never dawned on me when I would watch these movies, and the prince and the princess lived happily ever after. The end. I never even thought, what does that mean? Because it doesn't end after you get married, right? You have a lot more story to deal with. Just because you got married doesn't mean that you are literally happily ever after. And there was never something in between that got us past the happily ever after, the end. So my generation didn't really understand that, other than seeing our parents either not together, fighting, being together because they don't want to be together because they don't have a choice, or in an abusive relationship. Sadly, that has happened a lot. Okay. We didn't have a healthy understanding of what marriage meant, the hard times, the struggles. You just see your parents as two people who are just, providing you whatever you need to provide, and you're just going off to school hoping that you don't get beat up or fall asleep or the teacher yells at you. I went to Catholic school. The nuns beat the crap out of us. Not me personally. I was a teacher's pet. Yes, I was. Oh, 'cause I wasn't stupid. I was getting beat up at home. It's like, if I get beat up at home and I get beat up at school, there's no win-win situation here. Okay, so I was the best student that they could have. All right, but that was our life. A lot of kids were getting abused at home. And we didn't see our parents understanding or have a conversation with them saying, "What's wrong? You know, why are you so blue? What's the matter, mommy? What's the matter, daddy?" Whatever the case may be. You get shuffled off to your aunt's house, get shuffled off to your grandmother's house, and then all of a sudden you come back and one of them are not around anymore. Majority will be the dad. And then when dad does come back, he comes back with his own other family. Now you have half siblings running around. You're like, what? Excuse me? How does this work? We didn't communicate. I want to be clear on this. We were fed these 1970, 1980, even sometimes the 1950 shows where everybody was happy, mom was home, vacuuming with heels. In the 1980s, it was always, the perfect family. They would have their little arguments and somehow it was all rectified, and you just turn around and you're like, well, why can't you be like, Family Matters? Mom, dad, like one of those TV shows. What about the Cosby Show? We were like, yo, you may not have that much money, but you can't work it out. Seriously, this is how our generation grew up. So understanding the complexity later on of a whole generation growing up predominantly with broken families and the decline of marriages and the uprise of divorce, I'm going to let you listen to this person's clip. And I think that he makes a very good point on societal marriage and expectations. Let's take a look.
The divorce rate isn't high because marriage is broken. It's high because nobody wants to do hard things anymore to actually sustain a marriage and or a relationship. I'm married. I chose it. I choose it again tomorrow. But I watch people treat relationships like a subscription service. The second it stops being convenient, they cancel it and move on to the next one. And then they wonder why they're 40 years old, alone, and they're still looking. Like, man, is my person out there? Like, I've been through 20 relationships. Now, here's what nobody is saying. We've built an entire culture around personal happiness as the highest goal. And that sounds beautiful until you realize that commitment, by definition, means actually choosing something even when it doesn't make you happy. Every generation before ours understood that, okay? Our parents' generation understood that, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. They built families, legacies, and lives, not because every day felt good, but because they valued something bigger than just their feelings, right? We traded that for options, and options are making us miserable. Now, I'm not saying like stay in something that's toxic. Absolutely not. If you're in an abusive marriage, relationship, whether it's verbally, physically, whatever type of thing that's going on, and you know that you just got to get the heck out of it. Okay? That's not what this is. I'm saying if you keep leaving every time it gets hard, you're not protecting yourself. You're just constantly running. Every single marriage, relationship, I don't care who it is going to have their issues, their problems. It's going to get hard. Like any great marriage will tell you that. But in order for a marriage or a relationship to be great, they stick through it and they continue to, make it last. So do you agree or maybe you disagree? I want to hear it. Drop it below.
A subscription service was the one that caught my ear when I heard him. He's not wrong. I've been saying this. Many people on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, internets have been screaming. Too many options. And when you finally settle down, it's very easy for you to decide, yeah, I'm done. Barring what he said, abusive relationships. That goes beyond what I'm talking about, okay? Because we've all either know someone, experienced it, or heard about this, right? And it was very prevalent even in the days before Generation X, that a lot of them were in abusive relationships, from our silent generation to our greatest generation to our baby boomers. They just had, sorry to say, a lot of them didn't have many options. Women didn't have the options that women have now to get out of a relationship. And even still, it's very difficult, especially if you're in a very controlling, financially, physically, emotionally relationship and you have kids. It's not impossible, but it's very difficult. And we have a lot more services now to help those who need to get out of a relationship. And it goes both ways. Some men are abused as well. I know a lot of single dads. A lot of single dads. And that takes a lot for the court to decide that the mother is not fit and gives full custody to the father. And back then, when I say back then, everything from 70 down, I don't even think women could have a bank account. They couldn't even apply for a mortgage. I think we touched upon this in one of the episodes of Sex and the City and Miranda when she tried to purchase her home. You know, they were asking her a bunch of questions, and it was not that long ago that women didn't have even financial freedom, even if they go into the workforce. If you really want to see what that's like, watch Mad Men. Anybody who didn't watch the TV show Mad Men, I recommend you go take a look at that. It epitomizes exactly what it was like for women in general. You know, so there's a difference between struggling together, and that can mean anything financially, raising the children, your intimacy, whatever it takes, that struggle that you guys have agreed upon to go take it by the bull by the horns and go forward, right? Great. You got to get past that in order to look back and say, we are stronger together. A lot of people don't do that anymore. Not in Hollywood, not in sports, not in real time, nothing. Because the minute you get, like he said, it becomes slightly uncomfortable or difficult, you're checked out. You're done. Now let's take a look at this guy's thoughts that I actually found interesting, and I'll give you my comment. I thought he was enlightening.
I will never teach my kids to date and marry the way some of the American church does. I see way too many relationships and marriages like, well, the first year of marriage is so hard. No, we're getting through it. Or they end in divorce. Like, it is ridiculous. And it's not even a time thing either, because my wife and I, we got married after like a year and a few months of dating. And, after a baby, another one on the way, some other stuff, like I have never once said, well, marriage is hard. It stems back to two things. Number one is anybody can be anyone for 6 months, a year. You fall in love with this idea, but you never even like had the tough questions or like faced any like little adversity. You don't see how they argue. So you get married, then you move in together, and then you're like, actually, I don't even like this person. And the other thing is, like, you get into like this weird, like, lustful situation because you're like, I can't wait to get it on with this person, and then that clouds your judgment. And again, then you get married, you do the thing, and you're like, oh, well, actually, I don't love this person the way I thought I did. Every single couple, and I know churches offer this, I know the Catholic Church offers this, should go through some form of counseling to get somebody else to help ask you the tough questions that need to be answered before you're going to enter into a lifelong commitment with somebody.
Well, he's not wrong. Only because, well, first, he's right on all points. But I'm going to even add more to that. Because before I got married, because I'm Catholic, we did the question and the marriage thing with the priest that was going to marry us to ask us the tough questions why we want to get married. Did it work? No, of course not. I wouldn't be a divorced lady if it did. I'm going to say that, and I'm not sure that there is. I know that there's marriage counseling, okay? But that's counseling to deal with the problems that have escalated, at least in my experience. And you're trying to get past that hump, okay? Hopefully. I actually think that there should be a yearly, let's say, course, counsel, group session, places where you can go, even if it's not yearly, weekly, whatever it is, for the ongoing relationship. And you shouldn't wait until it blows up and you're in counseling and that's your last ditch effort. And a majority of them don't even work out. You're just trying to toe the line, and you do the counseling, and a lot of people, it's not successful for them because they've already checked out. You got to catch it before you get checked out, okay, in the relationship. Because a marriage is an ongoing daily job, for lack of a better word. It may not be sexy. Maybe somebody doesn't want to hear it, but it's like what he said. You move in, you get this lust. Anybody can be anything for 6 months. I found that fascinating. I'm like, you're right. The walls don't really come down until they get tired, and it could be either side of that lustfulness, because if you burn too quick, you burn out just as fast. Or, you realize that you don't even like this person. So who the hell have you been dating? When you wake up, have you not heard of the thing? You wake up one day and you realize you're married to a complete stranger? Because let me tell you something, these changes, even in your early years, it happens in your 30s, 40s, 50s. You got your midlife crisis, you got your perimenopause, you got your menopause. You've got, think about having a long-term relationship with the same person and not even liking them, not having a separate life. And I'm not talking about relationships. I'm talking about friendships, things that you like to do together and things you can do apart, and, going away and, having friends. Like, it can get cumbersome with the same person if you don't check in. And there should be some place or some way, because everything's on the freaking internet. Everybody likes to yell their freaking problems on the internet. But I go back to what I said before. Nobody's talking to each other. A retreat, so to speak, a couples retreat. I guess if that's what it's considered, it's not a counseling, it's a couples retreat. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to spend money and go somewhere, but there should be a local place, like a local library or something like that, that couples come in and they talk to other people and they really express what their hardships are. It could be financial, job, frustration in the marriage, frustration with the kids, anything. Because let me tell you, anything you can think of that can happen will happen in your marriage if you stay long term. And if you don't realize that you're not alone, that you're not the only couple dealing with this, and you don't have these people yelling and screaming, get a divorce, give it up, options, subscriptions, get the hell out. And you don't have healthy groups of people to guide you, because I don't want it to be where it's just like everybody's miserable and nobody's, you're not looking at couples that, like, listen, we've been there, done that. Should be led by successfully happy people, and help other people to get past that hump, to decide if this is the right relationship. Because even if you go through all of this, believe it or not, you might wake up and be like, damn it, 2 kids in, I'm a house and a mortgage, and I'm sexless, and I'm just not happy, and I have nowhere to go, and I'm done. What do I do? And then you blow up your life, you blow up your kid's life, you blow up your wife or husband's life, and you got people running around trying to enter the dating scene again at whatever age this happens, and they have not successfully understood what collapsed their past relationship, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years in. If you haven't come to terms to what happened and you're blaming it on the other person because he cheated, she cheated, whatever the hell it is, other than abuse, which, by the way, if you were coming out of an abusive relationship, you should definitely go for some counseling before you get back into another relationship, because unfortunately, I hate to say this, and this may trigger people, if you haven't figured out why and how you fell into that abusive relationship, you will be susceptible to fall into another one again. Sorry, but the statistics are out there. One of these days I'm going to learn how to talk. Lena, learn how to talk. Take 3. So let's take a look at this next clip of somebody else I found had a very interesting analogy on the decline and the relationship of marriage. They do.
Why do you think people are waiting so much longer to get married and have children, if they're going to have children at all?
It's very expensive.
There's an organization who talks about, I don't want no man doing this, I don't want no man doing that. Chauvinism played a part in it.
Telling the woman that she can't have a career and has to stay home and have kids.
No woman today will listen to
No, I don't think so.
I think it's terribly important to not get married too early, because you change a lot in your 20s and 30s, and then you're stuck with having the sadness of a divorce. People
and I've
in
heard
Alaska,
many kids conclude that I don't want to ever be married because of how their mothers and fathers argued it.
Out of the mouths of the baby boomers. Ironic, isn't it, when you listen to them and you realize that they were created from the greatest generation, and at this point, they're now in their retirement age. God bless them. And they could look back and accurately detail what the hell is the problem with relationships today, getting past whatever, because I don't know them personally, obviously, but getting past what they went through and giving birth to Generation X, and realizing that some of their marriages may have failed, because those people that you looked at, those are the ones that were getting married in the 70s, and they were getting divorces, and the I don't know what word I'm trying to say. The collapse of marriage. There's another word, but I'll figure it out. I might be a little tired today, so do forgive me. I'm usually not this verbally inept. So when I saw them and I heard every single one of their points, it encapsulated everything that I had thought about for many, many years. Because you can get married very young, but you change. And I think that you change even in your 40s and 50s, but I didn't think about that back then. You know, um, you know, having that financial structure where one person's salary can support a family, that's not. It's just, I'm sure if you live in a trailer park or a trailer home or a tiny home in somewhere in Wyoming, and you can pull that cash, and maybe live off the sun, and have, go to the creek and get some water. Anybody who wants a decent place to live, a home, a school, kids, somebody is killing themselves at their job. It's nice to think that you have an option for one parent to be home, because I'm not adverse to a father being home if he wants to stay home because the mother is the bread maker. I think some dads really do well being parents. It could be either or, but that's not the realism. And if you both go to work, do you know how much babysitting costs? After school programs, before school programs, breakfast programs, any program. Crap, if you want to take them to a karate school, you have to, get karate chopped into it and hope that you can earn enough to pay that car that is like a minivan to shuffle these kids around. It's a lot. So, even that idea of somebody staying home or telling someone to stay home might sound great in theory, but it doesn't work out. Getting married too young and then walking around thinking that, where's my person? Like the other person said, you're 40 years old and you're single and you don't know why, because you haven't been able to stay through the tough times. The baby boomers have said it. Now, let's take a look at our last, I'm not going to say sad clip, because I am going to end this video like I've done with my other videos, with the funny side of relationships, because at the end of the day, I want to make you all smile. So don't leave. Do me a favor, if you're enjoying this and I'm bringing value to you and you haven't joined my wonderful community, please consider subscribing, because I'm getting more into not just the dating shark horror of dating apps, which I've done already 4 videos on. Thank you for all who watch. But now we're going to escalate into when you finally find someone, how and why, and will you get married, and why are marriages on the decline? Because there's 8 more Jumanji levels after this. Oh, you think I was done with this? Oh, no, Cherie, no way. We're going to go deep. So I hope you consider subscribing and do me a favor. Stay tuned.
Every marriage ends. It ends in death or divorce, but it ends. And it's one of those weird things, like to say to someone, I hope it ends in death for you. But it's the truth. Like, I hope your marriage ends in death, because the other way that it's going to end is divorce. And the majority of marriages end in divorce. Over 50% end in divorce. So, and that's just the ones that catastrophically failed. Like, think about how many people, succeeded in marriage, but, meaning they didn't divorce, but they're unhappy. They never really become the most authentic version of themselves. They stay together for the kids or because they don't want to give away half their things. What is that? Another 10%, 20%? Now you have something that fails 70% of the time. And yet, we are like, let's do it. We got to sign people up for this. It's a great thing. It's a, like, even if someone says, I'm getting married, if you were to say, really, why? It would be rude. That's a rude question to ask. But meanwhile, you're doing something that fails roughly 50 to 70% of the time. It's not unreasonable to say, why? And I think the big issue is, and that's why I say, like, falling feels like flying for a little while until you hit the ground.
Do you know what's so crazy about what he said, that first jarring statement? Marriage will either end by divorce or death. It literally jarred me into reality because I never even thought about that. And he's 100% correct. You know, we just don't, well, maybe you have, but yeah, till death do you part, not till the subscription service is canceled and you move on. Divorce, like me, you know, and so many others. You know, I don't think any of us went into, at least I don't, well, I don't know anybody who went into marriage thinking they were going to get divorced. I've heard that so many times. And this 50% of marriages not succeed. I've heard this since I was a kid. We're still there. I guess it's a good thing that we're still trying, but no, we're not, because if you remember the first clip, it's on a decline for many different reasons, you know, and a lot of it has to do with people stay in marriages because they don't want to give up half their stuff, as what this divorce led person, and they are unhappy and they never find their true self. That means that, I hate to break it to you, kids are not stupid. They know when mommy and daddy are not happy, or they're sleeping in separate bedrooms, or they have an open relationship, or whatever construct that you come up with in order to make sure that you don't give up half your crap, even with a prenup. Even, you know, it's not easy. Not everybody feels that way, but I know in my family, there was one couple that stayed together because of the kids, and those are my cousins, and they're not happy. They don't have successful relationships at all. So I came from a broken home, and then my cousins came from an unhappy marriage. What are we doing here? What are we doing? And it goes back to what some of the baby boomers said. You get married too young, you don't know who you are. But then it also goes back to what I said in the app. What are the questions that you're asking for this person that you're trying to date? And is your goal to get married or live together? Because even people who live together have kids. Right? They don't get married. Look at Goldie Hawn and her husband, that fine old man. You know, they never got married and they had kids. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to work out. Look at Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. They got a baseball field. They got married. They adopted, and they have their own kids. And where are they now? There's no guarantee. So how do we fix this? I would totally go work for a place that would create what I talked about. Marriage doesn't end at happily ever after. I'm not sure of the title yet, but I would love to have a startup to actually go out there and start gathering these people, married people, people who are together, not married. It's more than just the end. Or, in his case, you either get divorced or you die. And let's not even talk about the people who force the second option, which is death, amongst the two of them. That's a whole other video that scares the crap out of me. Like, if your end goal is to get out of that marriage and you're unaliving your significant other, can we not talk about this? Can we talk about this in another video? That frightens the hell out of me. So, this is a very deep conversation. I'm going to do, let's say, 3 more videos on this as I start to delve into this, and I'll keep this series going. That we went through the dating apps. I did 4, going through why the marriage is on decline, and then my 2 other things that I will surprise you with when it all related to these relationships. I'll do 2, 3, 4 videos on this. But before we go look at the funny clips, okay, because I personally, if this is going to happen, this is the way I want it. I wanted to make a couple of statements. Number one, my Sex and the City episode, season 3, episode 8, the one with Aiden and Carrie and all that, got blocked from HBO for copyright. I haven't decided how I'm going to address this yet. It's giving me the option to remove all the clips. I think I might take that option, put it back up there, and see what happens. A lot of people who've already seen it are probably not going to rewatch it, but anyone new, when it pops up, you might get a little confused. I try to talk through the clips and just show the clips so you won't see what I'm speaking about. And because we have so many more episodes to go, I'll figure out a better way to get clips in if I can, or just tell the narrative as much as I can. I'm not going to cry over one video. Most of the people who want to follow that series have watched it already, and I'll put a pinned comment in the video when it comes back up. I had to deflate and not scream in anger because all the hard work I put into this Sex and the City videos for all of you, it just pissed me the hell off. So probably this week I'm going to take their suggestion, remove the clips, re-upload, and then when I do my next video, it's just going to have no clips because it infuriates me that I've seen many other channels not only use clips, but the voices, like the actual voice of the clips, I don't do that. I narratively tell you so you visually can see what I'm talking about. And they want to pick on my small little channel, which I'm grateful that I have this community. But dude, really? Seriously? You got nothing better to do? I don't want to get into this because it's going to piss me off and I want to get into the funny part. Okay? So I wanted to give you that update. So to sort of end this, because I'll end this properly after you watch this. If you are able to get past all of this and you go into your winter of your life, your golden years, I hope and pray that I am able to share what little left I have of my life with a group of people that I found on TikTok and the retirement home. And I hope that you go ahead and you follow them because they are hilarious. It gives me more beyond Golden Girls. It gives me a golden community. These people have gone above and beyond to make these videos, and I cannot thank them. Like, I'm going to cry because when I saw them, and there's so many of them, but I had to be careful because of music. But I just want to extend my love and appreciation for making me laugh, to realize that this will pass. And when I get to my golden years, maybe I will be as lucky to be with people like this. Let's take a look.
So you're breaking up with me?
Evelyn, you know how fond I am of you, but I'm not ready to settle down. I need to explore some of my options.
Are you okay? Somebody help! Nurse!
Oh my god, did you ask him to commit?
Yes, of course!
No, stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. You've been ghosted.
I looked just like that in college. I wasn't smart enough to take off my clothes.
Oh! I love it when she do that.
They did not do that in my day.
Oh! Don't do that to me, girl!
That little Saltburn guy, he cheated on her. She looks like a real-life Polly Pocket.
Oh, there she goes again. Oh, look at that.
Have you ever tried this one? Of course I have.
So what kind of girls do you think are interested? He just put a banana on his face.
I think he needs a bra. It's crazy. Come on, man. All of this? Come on, man.
If I was his girlfriend, I would be so afraid that he would crush me.
Yeah.
Damn, that's a juicy ass.
Bruh.
Can you do that many push-ups?
He only did 3.
That's what I'm asking.
There it goes!
Oh! Oh, this guy's so full of shit.
If you are blessed to have the opportunity to go and live in a retirement home, shoot for that type of home where they're active, they're funny, they're recording TikToks, they're not, technically inept, they don't understand how to use the phone and they know what they're doing and they're putting it all out there. Bro. Dude needs a bra. The other one looks like a Polly Pocket. You've got the characters of, I guess, the old friends. There's so much of it that, I wanted to share so much, but I wanted to just give you a taste and give you guys some laughter and some joy and realize that not everyone is at that point of their life that they can't still have fun. And if you can do that now, even before your golden years, have some fun. Stop yelling and screaming on the internet. I'm going to tell you the one that I love the most. You got ghosted. I almost fell off the chair because I didn't know where they were going with this. I'm like, what are you doing? What's happening? What's going on? Like, no, they didn't. Okay. And that's why I wanted to end this video with a laugh. Because you know what? That's what we need more of. A little bit more hope, laughter, and joy. Even if it's for the 5 seconds that you could do it, 10 seconds, 10 minutes, whatever it is, go find your happy place. You have to, because you're going to die, apparently. And whether you're dying because you're being divorced or whatever, it's going to happen. Have some fun. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it brought some encouragement, enlightenment, concern, questions, which if you have any, please comment down below. There's more to come. I only was able to grab the most, striking ones today. And I wanted to bring this to you just to introduce you to the next couple of videos that are going to be coming. That is going to be related to this topic and a few more. And I hope that you consider subscribing. So I want to thank everyone. I want you to have, number one, a blessed day, a blessed week, weekend, month, year. And from here to around this beautiful world that we are in and that I reach, I want to thank everyone. Take care. Bye. I'm not ghosting you.